Hello, TLC Sister Wives Real News, back at ya. If you believe TV edit only shows half the picture, then you're in the right place. Tonight we go deeper than normal, a two-part expose, and each bite of evidence we dissect counts. Stick with me through the entire video, and hey, no problem, click subscribe and tap that bell if you want part 2, because the most shocking moments are still to come. Speedy heads up first, smash the like button so that YouTube knows the channel's onto something. Alright, let's dive into the weirdest thing I discovered, Robin Brown's web presence, or lack of. For a participant in a primetime reality show, her social feeds are neglected almost completely. Weeks, months, sometimes years more than one with not a tweet. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, brief views of posed-up posts, typically advertising the family business in jewelry or offering posed family portraits, Robin, Cody, and the children. Those are like news releases, not chat. Merry holidays. So fortunate. No dirty behind the scenes. No response to the tempest of headlines. Just smooth, controlled imagery. Want to know how silence weaves a story? Wait, that pattern fits with the show's largest public moments. If you superimpose that pattern with the show's timeline and what the other wives were doing publicly, there is a strange correlation. Robin's quietest moments coincide with when Christine and Janelle were making their largest public moves. Since Christine broke up with Cody in November 2021 and started posting about her new life, Robin's story was nearly gone. Although Christina's timeline had family days and updates about her own life, Robin's account was empty. Following season 17 Tell-All, when Christine declared that she won't be friends with Robin and Janelle made it clear about her breakup, Robin faded even deeper. The louder the ex-wives became, the quieter Robin remained. To the public eye, one voice to be heard, the script was already written, bad guy on one hand, tellers of the truth on the other. What if silence in this instance isn't defeat? Don't assume that the silence implies vulnerability. There can be purpose here. Tune in, next episode spins it around. Here's the first of our exclusive theories, pieced together from insiders and gossip of the law, less soap operatic competitiveness and more corporate restraint. The Browns, for years, were not just a family but had been acting as a branded company, shared property, jointly held business, contractual commitments. Insiders say there's a pre-existing binding contract, call it the family brand covenant, with tight non-disclosure and non-disparagement provisions. We don't have the document, but other sources explain a multi-party heavy-duty NDA that presumably took effect when they ratified their family business. If so, it makes us rethink Robin's decisions. Curious why some can speak and others can't? The solution can be in the minute details, and it's ruthless. Those are the rumored mechanics. Christine and Janelle broke free from the family dynamics and, as reported, went their own separate ways financially and legally from the family business. That separating away may have freed them from some of the covenant, basically exchanging financial relationships for freedom of speech. Robin, however, is presented by our reports as still caught up in the business, married to Cody, a primary beneficiary, and described as a co-owner of the family company. If she actually sits in the operating agreement, that means she's contractually bound against public denunciation or from relaying backstage gossip for big money, with big amounts of money on the line. Imagine a clause that threatens 7-figure fines for disparagement. In that scenario, Robin's silence isn't passivity, it's a legal chain. Think that sounds extreme? Hold tight, next I'll show how this could explain the show's staged moments and off-camera boundaries. This theory reframes a lot. It would explain why Cody can create dramatic TV moments while Robin rarely engages in public back and forth. He might be playing Discord in the territory of the brand provided. She might be cut out of response because a response would engage the penalties of the agreement. Imagine sitting on a golden throne, superior standing, superior wealth, but mess up once with a public comment and the entire thing goes up in smoke. That's the picture my sources drew, sitting on a blow-up throne. Still skeptical? Good. We're just getting started. Part 2 will dig into who benefits, who loses, and the paperwork that could prove or disprove this whole idea. So far we've walked through the public record, the silence, the curated posts, and how those moments line up with the other wives' very public departures. We've sketched a theory about a binding family agreement that might explain why voices have been freed or silenced. None of this is a smoking gun yet, it's a pattern and a hypothesis based on multiple insider accounts. In part 2, we'll chase harder, the corporate filings, the timeline of incorporations, and the specific moments where financial separation might have altered legal obligations. If that's something you'd like to see, subscribe and enable notifications. You don't want to miss the papers and the names we're tracking next. Emotional Instagram live, one angry tweet, and the entire financial empire that she has built with Cody could all come crashing down in a split second. That's the gamble behind our theory of law prison. It also makes the things that she posts understandable. Those open family photos and the MSWC commercials aren't open, they're intentional. They are the only ones that will not violate a contract clause. That means she isn't inadvertently posting an open feed, she's talking in the only language her attorneys allow. Her public image becomes a lawyer-safe broadcast, boring, neutral, and unmistakably non-confrontational. Hook, if silence is safety, what happens when strategy turns into control? Keep watching, the next idea gets darker. Here's the twist. What if Robin isn't merely obeying legal constraints? What if she's orchestrating them? The Gilded Cage paints her as passive and trapped. But another trail of whispers points to a far more proactive role. Sources reveal that when Christine left and the public image of the family exploded, Robin and Cody quietly hired a high-end crisis PR firm, the type that doesn't even exist online and is only spoken of in hushed tones unless literally by word of mouth. They are not typical publicists. They don't even do regular work. They specialize in reputation repair with very specialized campaigns. For our purposes, let's refer to this as the Phoenix Protocol. The goal isn't just damage control, it's resurrection. Hook, so how does a stealth approach get transformed into a comeback? Don't blink, erase the next section broken down step by step. Phase 1 of that plan is the information void. The crisis management guide often starts with a media blackout. Remove the oxygen from the fire. Those early, reflexive Robin tweets just made matters worse, emotional, defensive, inflammatory. The first response of a crisis organization would be to remove the oxygen, go dark, keep quiet, let the din dissipate. The dividends are double. 1. Critics and trolls exhaust themselves with new copy and the news cycle moves on. 2. Absence is intriguing. In the age of oversharing, silence is compelling. People begin to fill the void with their own theories, which paradoxically keeps the subject talked about without giving them anything new to attack. Hook, silence as strategy sounds counterintuitive, but it's brutally effective. Ready for Phase 2? Phase 2 is a slow, scripted reintroduction. After the blackout, reappear only in tightly controlled contexts, professionally lit family portraits, business spotlights, posts that reinforce wholesome brand associations. That's exactly what we've seen. Every photo is vetted to overlay the villain framework with a new one, Robin the good mom, Robin the businesswoman. Here at this point the PR folks probably have captions, timing, and comments moderated. It's broadcasting, not dialogue. Conversation is stripped or censored away. The intention is to broadcast a photo so set up there is no space for disagreement. Hook, but the most clever, and most insidious, manipulation may occur off-screen. Pay attention, the insidious move is this second step. Step 3 is narrative seeding through surrogates. Since Robin herself is still silent, her team supposedly plants seeds through sympathetic bloggers, low-key tabloids, and sympathetic influencers. You might have been surprised to see surprise-breaking stories regarding there supposedly being an ulterior motive to someone's exit, or mysterious sources alleging Robin was the true victim. Their secondary storylines soft launches under this hypothesis. They permit trial balloons to soar without explicit attribution to Robin, providing her with plausible deniability and gauging what messaging resonates. It's shadow power, plant the seed, try out the reaction, then build on what remains. Hook, sleek cloak and dagger. That's the plan. Now imagine the payoff. Phase 4, the relaunch, is the payoff. After months or years of scripted silence, measured exposure, and seed stories well planted, the client returns in a headline splash, an interview with a sympathetic, big-name reporter or a primetime special. This isn't a throwaway Instagram comment, it's a scripted redemption story. Coached and rehearsed, Robin would tell a careful, virtuous story, a mom who had stayed silent for her children, not a person concealing abuse. Weeks of media training would render quiet strength and holding back dignity. Hook, if this is occurring, it would be one of the most elaborate PR renaissances in history behind reality TV. But might both accounts be valid? That's the question. Are the Gilded Cage and the Phoenix Protocol mutually exclusive, or are they both halves of one single staged scheme? What if law and PR, together, legal boundaries setting public silence while an occult campaign shapes perception from the outside? That would make Robin's subdued feed more than just legal self-protection. It's the pivot of a larger, well-funded comeback strategy. We're staring at the possible merger of contract enforcement and reputation architecture, a defense that protects wealth while preparing a relaunched public identity. It's not one or the other. When individuals who hold power are in crisis, they do not restrict themselves to a single option, they utilize everything that is available to them. That is when a new, combined theory comes into action. Imagine this: Christine departs, Cody and Robin running wild, the brand headed for disaster. They hire their A-list family attorney, the same one who had created the family brand covenant. He spells it out in black and white: Robin, you're contractually obligated to keep quiet. A public brawl will activate the penalty clause and maybe violate your TLC contract. One misstep can be financial doom. This is hour of crisis. Rather than throwing up his hands, the attorney reaches for the telephone. You don't have a legal issue, he tells him, you've got a PR crisis. I just happen to know a firm, costly, aggressive, discreet. They can work within those legal constraints and turn your silence into a strength. And so the merger takes place, law and PR into one hybrid strategy. The Phoenix Protocol is no longer smart PR now, but survival tactics. Silence of Phase 1 is no longer an option, but a requirement. Pre-leaked posts of Phase 2 are no longer rebranding, but the only content lawyers would ever approve. Narrative seeding of Phase 3 becomes necessary, because it's the only way Robin's point of view can be in public consciousness without her violating her deal. The snapshot becomes suddenly vilely clear. Cody and Robin are not only a volatile reality TV pair, they are crisis management corporate players, surrounded by lawyers and PR advisors, armed with contracts and spin media. Their agenda is not to emerge victorious in the family feud. It's to salvage the LLC, preserve the brand, and secure as the ultimate people standing with the money, the house, and the controls. Christine and Janelle might have gained popular appeal, but Robin is struggling for something greater: legacy, power, survival. And she's pulling a sneaky, ruthless, but highly effective long game. But suppose there's more? Suppose Robin's silence has nothing whatsoever to do with lawyers or PR agencies? Suppose it's something worse still, something hidden deep in the family's financial foundations? Something so sinister that silence is all that stands between total devastation. That's where our inquiry takes us next, the House of Cards theory. Because beneath the gilded exterior of million-dollar houses in Flagstaff, newly purchased land at Coyote Pass, and high-end cars is a secret that never does quite add up. Where precisely is the money really coming from? Cody doesn't have a real job outside of the show. My sister wife's closet is defunct, its website a tomb, its socials stuck in perpetuity. TLC pays good, sure. But enough to buy a few mortgages, luxury purchases, and a fractured family strung across several houses? The math does not work. By the House of Cards premise, it is not working because it is not supposed to. The financial underpinning of the Brown family, particularly during the Robin and Cody years, rests upon enormous, unworkable debt. All previously flowed out of what they termed the family pot, all 4 wives and 18 kids from a single pool of money. But enter Robin into the equation, sources hold accountable the lines getting blurred. The group fund began to become a slush fund for the business ventures of Robin and Cody. Christine and Janelle, further and further financially apart, supposedly started noticing warning signs. Money was pouring into Robin's bigger house, Robin's children, and my sister-wife's closet's bottomless pit, while their own needs were gently deferred to the background. That is where MSWC stepped in. It wasn't a sideline business. It was a corporation. And corporations possess one thing that individuals do not: availability for loans. The House of Cards hypothesis is that MSWC wasn't just peddling jewelry. They did it to garner money for financing, loans, and credit lines to fund a lifestyle well above the TLC pay. The family was not just living off their television dollars. They were living on the bank. Think about it, the company borrows a business loan for inventory, but what they spend the money on is a down payment on a house for $1 million home. It's not sloppy accounting, it's quite possibly commingling of funds, even outright fraud. Now let's skip ahead to the present. Collapse. Christine is gone. Janelle is gone. Mary is alone. Their earnings they used to make vanish overnight, but the debt stays. Cody and Robin are the last two standing, carrying all the weight of the family business on their shoulders. And is this the time bomb? Robin's silence in the House of Cards theory is not merely some PR stunt or a matter of strict compliance with the law. It's survival. It's desperation. Think about it. If ever she had a nasty public feud with Christine and Janelle, what would be their first action? They'd call for a forensic audit of the family coffers. Lawyers and accountants, every buck followed 10 years back. That sort of audit could reveal everything: mishandling, finicky lending that could not be maintained, and even nepotism-based favoritism spending communal money to fund Robin's lifestyle. And the retaliation would not only be degrading. It might lead to lawsuits by the other wives, or even attract the attention of the IRS or SEC, depending on what help was used on those loans. Robin's silence, then, isn't calm strength. It's a dam holding back a flood of ruin. One slip, one wrong word, and the entire structure collapses. Creditors come knocking. The illusion of Flagstaff wealth crumbles into dust. Which raises a haunting possibility: when Robin sits in that oversized living room, surrounded by clutter that screams prosperity, what we're really seeing is a performance, a mask of stability to hide the terror of financial collapse. She is not quiet because she's tough. She's quiet because she's afraid. Afraid of Christine and Janelle claiming their cut. Afraid of the truth emerging. Afraid that the empire they and Cody constructed would be seen for what it really was: a thin veneer. But money has another dimension. Silence has another role, one more intimate, more destructive. Beyond law and beyond money, silence is wealth of a different kind. A wealth so complete we call it the maternal fortress. On the surface, Robin's public stance is simple: I'm protecting my children. It's a moral shield no one can question. Who would dare criticize a mother for keeping her kids out of the chaos? But here's the twist: the maternal fortress theory suggests this shield doubles as a wall. Not just a wall to keep the public out, but a wall to keep her own family unit locked inside and cut off from the others. The proof? Robin and Cody applied the term tender-aged children to describe her children even when they were teenagers and young adults. That terminology self-consciously labeled them as especially helpless, requiring to be safeguarded, that just so necessitated Cody's around-the-clock engagement. During the COVID era, this strategy of a fortress went into overdrive. Robin's way too stringent rules weren't all about safety. They were about control, claims this theory. Cody was being forced to make a decision: father all of his children and risk Robin's anger, or leave the rest of the family behind and stay in her bubble. We all know what he did. And now, Robin's silence carries this same tactic into cyberspace. By not playing along, she is co-opting the stoic, outraged defender role, albeit filling her family's ears with fantasy that the outside world, including Christine, Janelle, and her children, is an imaginary enemy horde. And this emotional strength has two destruction-positive purposes. First, it ties Cody to her even more firmly. He is a king in exile, he believes, betrayed by everyone except for one devoted subject, Robin. Her silence is evidence to him, of devotion. She's the queen who clings to him, the only one who hasn't cut loose. Second, it emotionally wounds the other wives. The greatest weapons of war are silence. By not speaking to Christine and Janelle, Robin denies them closure, responsibility, even recognition. The message is chilling to the spine: your tale is not worth telling. You are not worth hearing. For women who shared a roof for years, that kind of erasure is not merely cruel, it's catastrophic. Mad-making. That is the only word for it. A means of having the last say without uttering a word. When Robin asserts that her silence is on behalf of her children, the maternal fortress theory implies more. All right, she's shielding them, but she's also delimiting them. Bringing them up in a universe where allegiance to her little, enclosed group is paramount, and the rest of the Browns are mere warning stories. Her silence is the cement in the walls. Walls constructed to confine Cody, the world, and her pedestal as the last wife in place. All together, the Gilded Cage, the Phoenix Protocol, the House of Cards, and the maternal fortress speak a terrible thing: Robin playing chess with layers and layers. But the board has turned recently. New players came in the game, and the fortress is crumbling. Her silent strategy is crumbling for the first time in history. And that's where the updates begin, the fissures in the real world that indicate the peaceful fortress is breaking down. Update 1, Public Sighting. There were pictures of Cody and Robin at a Las Vegas trade show. Innocent enough looking on the surface. But look closely, their body language is horrible. Cody is scowling, Robin is spent. The very opposite of the painstakingly constructed image of happiness that they've attempted to sell online. If they were continuing to operate the Phoenix Protocol, this public outing was going to be a tightly scripted back to center. Instead, their actual pain seeped through. It informed the world the smiling pictures are a ruse. And if you are one of the participants in the House of Cards scenario, the trade show environment is most telling. Trade shows are commerce. Business. Deals. Is this a sign they're so desperate for new sources of cash? Is the TLC money running out? Those frazzled faces might not be of marital stress. These might be the faces of two individuals on the verge of financial ruin. Update 2, the arrival of a new patriarch. Christina's marriage to David Woolley has sent shockwaves. Why? Because David is something Cody's lacked. Financial stability. Emotional calmness. Freedom from the Brown family web of agreements and involvements. David doesn't play their game, no NDAs bind him, no TLC obligations to me, no fear of talking. And his existence empowered Christine, bestowing upon her a new voice and new stage. David is living proof that Cody is left behind and does not result in devastation, it results in joy. And that one truth shatters Robin's hold wide open. Her kids no longer see Christine as a warning. They're observing her thrive with a new, wholesome man, a king on another board, one Robin has no power to manipulate. Update 3, the unauthorized voices. Cody and Robin dominated the family's narrative for years. But now? That stranglehold is broken. Gwen Brown has been spilling raw, behind-the-scenes rumors on Patreon and YouTube for more than a year, cutting across the sanitized narrative. And Mary has rebuilt herself, traveled, started businesses, hang out with friends, and provided fans with a look at what life is like beyond Cody's shadow. And there's Christine and Janelle, beaming with freedom and happiness at every corner. Each post, each video, each smile is another blow to the fortress. All of their screams combined are greater than Robin's silence. The game is different. The fortress is crumbling. The strategy that worked so magnificently before doesn't work. Which leaves us to speculate on the last question, the endgame. We've traveled through every layer of Robin's silence. We've seen it as a gilded cage of legal contracts, a Phoenix protocol of PR maneuvering, a house of cards built on unstable finances, and a maternal fortress of emotional warfare. Not isolated theories, but threads in a single tapestry of survival. A strategy designed to protect one thing, the supremacy of Cody and Robin's unit above all else. But now that plan is disintegrating. The world beyond the walls has broken through. So what do we do now? Does Robin finally come forward? Or does she hide even deeper, doubling down on a silence that resembles less power and more desperation? And so we leave it up to you, the Sister Wives clan, the court of public opinion. The question that started this investigation now must be answered. Is Robin's quiet a masterstroke, a catastrophic error, or somewhere in between? Let's weigh it. Option A, the master strategist. Perhaps all of this is long game. Perhaps she is riding out a storm, allowing public opinion to blow in and out, not providing interview bite sizes which could be used against her in a subsequent divorce or court battle. Silence might preserve leverage, deny enemies ammunition, and keep doors open for a strategic exit at the right moment. It's a long chance, but an idea to remember. Hook, want to bet it all on patience? Humans do, and it's a bad wager. The Great Backfire. This is the one that looks more likely with every viral video and trending hashtag. By holding her trap shut, Robin lost the narrative completely to the rest of us. She's been labeled, falsely or otherwise, as a villain in a narrative told to millions, and silence mobilized that caricature into public opinion. Where there had been mystery, silence became shame in the court of internet opinion. No PR spin, no big interview, no well-crafted magazine article can elegantly erase a destroyed and meme-ified reputation. Hook, once the internet has made up its mind about what you do, it's really difficult to rewrite the script. The high-risk mixed outcome. That's where I am. Robin's approach is an oxymoron, a qualified success and a destroying failure simultaneously. Internally, behind closed doors, the plan likely worked. She has cut off her family, she has bought Cody, and she's insulated herself from immediate legal and financial risk. Micro-wise, as far as the house and the bank accounts, she's a victor. But on the big stage, legacy, public trust, and the future of her children's relationships with one another, she has lost everything. She sacrificed public popularity for personal power. She won the battle with Cody and the house, but she might have lost her name, respect in her community, and the opportunity to be heard by listeners who would hear her out. Hook, is a win that takes away everything else a victory? So what's the verdict? That's up to you, the Sister Wives cast, to decide. After 2 episodes of evidence, speculation, leaks, and pattern matching, I'd love to hear your verdict. Was Robin's silence an act of cold brilliance, a disastrous miscalculation, or a frantic guesswork that mostly failed? Cast your vote in the comments, A, B, or C. And in the meantime, while you're there, play along with me for a moment. Suppose you're her advisor. The walls are coming down. What do you tell her to do? Speak up and risk financial and legal landslide, or pipe down and see your public reputation disappear? I want best, toughest thoughts. Post them in comments below and I'll feature the best in the next video. Thanks for tagging along on the deep dive. If this investigation made you see the light, be sure you're subscribed. We've still got more Brown family dirt to dig up. Give this a like to indicate you're hungry for more, ring the bell so you can get the receipts of part 2, and I'll catch you later for the best damn reality TV journalism on the internet.